Welcome back, everybody. We are ready for our next guest of the evening. Super excited to have Scott Hessel from the Gin Blossoms on this evening. How are you doing, Scott?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I appreciate it, man.
It's good to see you for the fifth time in 24
I
hours.
know. Man, you really stuck it out with me last night. Those of you watching, I was having technical difficulties trying to do a trial run with Scott, and he was so patient, man. I can't thank you enough for being so cool about it. And we chatted today, and the fact that you're here right now, it means so much to me. I'm really looking forward to getting to have this chat with you.
It's my pleasure.
Well, thank you. When we talked yesterday, I was like, every time we have somebody in town for Drummathon, I don't ever really get a chance to sit down and have a great conversation with our celebrity guests that come in town. And I've always wanted to know each person that I meet, like how they got started with drumming. So, can you give us some back
Right.
history on that?
So I was one of those archetypal kids with the country and western drum set that I broke on the very first morning that I got it on Christmas. I was that kid. I got a little country and western drum set, and I put my foot through the kick drum, and that was all she wrote. And from that point on, it was Lincoln Logs and uh, these chips, Charles chips cans that I would turn over, and I would just bang the shit. Are we allowed to say shit?
You did. So, yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. So I would just bang the shit out of those, and that was my drum set for a very, very long time.
That's crazy. So the first drum set that you got for Christmas, I had the same thing happen with me. I got one. It was a $25 drum set from Sears. So was it that kind of quality we're talking about, or was it?
Oh yeah, it was totally the Sears drum set. It was the the one that you see, like, Keith Moon. Well, actually, maybe Keith Moon didn't. Maybe he played it as an adult. Who knows? But yeah, it was the little kid drum set, and I just ripped right through that thing. And
How old were you when you got that? Do you remember?
probably three,
Wow.
I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy. So
yeah.
when did you finally get behind like a real drum set? What you felt was a real drum set?
So there's an interesting story that I will tell you now, because I've just set it up as an interesting story. Uh, I saw this episode of the Brady Bunch, and Bobby, little Bobby, played by I think Robert McCormick or something. I don't know. Maybe it is Bobby McCormick. I don't know. Anyway, he got he got a drum set for Christmas, but he also wanted a pool table. Now, that's secretly what I wanted. I wanted a pool table. So I was so disappointed that my parents snuck a drum set into the house and not a pool table.
Are you
Uh,
kidding me?
I I was so disappointed. I could have I to this day I hold it against them, because I think that I could have been a billiards. Is that the right word? Billiards. I could have been a billiards expert, but instead I got this drum set, and every Christmas from that point on, they gave me a drum to add to the Tama Black Imperial Star kit that I had. So a few years into it, like, I had to crawl under my drums. I had that many drums, which is, I know that I've heard a lot of stories from friends of mine who it's the exact same deal. Like, their parents started them on a kit, and then every Christmas they would give them a drum to add to it. And so that's how I sort of at least got the first real drum set that I wasn't even thoroughly interested in playing. My best friend used to come over, and he used to play the drums, and I would just make up songs on a microphone and like rap along with him. Not,
I'm
not that
gonna
there
have
was
to
such a thing.
yeah, I'm gonna need to see video of this if this
Yeah, oh,
exists.
there's audio.
Excellent,
There's audio that's
excellent.
blackmail material. But um, so eventually I took over the drum set, and my friend said, "Okay, yeah, I'm done. You take over." And so from that point on, I started playing the drums.
That's so cool. And like, what was the first band that you got in or started gigging with? Were you like a teenager, or were you outside of high school before you started gigging?
It was high school. It was like junior year, senior year of high school. I think I played in the Jesus Christ Superstar high school band.
That's
That
excellent.
was that was that was my first.
Wow.
I faked my way through that. I had no idea how to read,
Uh-huh.
but I got the album, and it just seemed like one big drum solo to me, and that's exactly what I did. I played every single song. I just improvised, and yeah, it all sort of went from there.
That's awesome. And so what was the first band? Did you do like original music? Were you writing music later, or were you doing cover songs, or how did that go?
Yeah, so from that point on, it turned into, there was an offshoot band that sort of sprung out of that high school Jesus Christ Superstar mega band, and we started playing together and started writing music together, and then it was like, wow, this is kind of cool. I'm playing with human beings, and we all listen to U2 records and Echo and the Bunnymen records, and this is a thing. So let's do this. And we had no idea that you were the amount of work that you actually had to put into being in a band. But we thought we were going to be the band, the next.
We're gonna be huge.
We are going to be huge.
Right.
We are going to be the next Echo and the Bunnymen, or you too. So, and we were 17 and 18. So, the world was our oyster.
Totally. That's amazing. Well, so at what point I remember I was watching an interview that you did recently, and yeah, I think you talked about the fact that you were a fan of the Gin Blossoms before you ever played with them. And so how old were you? Do you remember whenever you first heard of the Gin Blossoms, and were you living in Arizona at the time, or did you know them before they got signed?
Oh yeah. In fact, I remember hearing them, and actually, we would do that offshoot Jesus Christ Superstar band would play shows, and Jesse Valenzuela and Robin Wilson would open up for us. So
Wow. It's
it
crazy.
was a really interesting time.
Yeah.
But I kind of was so jealous when those guys got signed to A&M. I said, man, someday I'm gonna manifest, I'm gonna manifest being the drummer for this band. And somehow it happened. I don't know how, but it happened. So it was really quite it was a cool adventure.
I truly believe in that whole manifesting things too. I've personally done that a lot where it's like I'm just like I want to do this thing, and you just set your mind to it, and it'll happen. You can make it happen. And that's just really cool. And so you were already knew these guys. You were kind of probably already friends with them, and when the opportunity became available, and you just kind of slid right in there. Was there like an audition that you had to go through for the part,
Well,
or?
well, years later, I had sort of paid my dues, playing in various Tempe bands, and I got a call from Robin Wilson one day saying, "Hey, Jim Blossoms need a drummer. Do you want to be the drummer?" And I said, duh, I've only been waiting for 20 something years to do this.
Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So um by the way, I'm sorry I keep hitting my phone is kind of messing up.
No, I can't tell.
Um
You look great, and there's not
okay.
we're not messing with anything. You're good.
All right. All right, good. Um yeah, it was like, okay, well, let's get together and make sure that we don't suck. We didn't suck. And so we went from there and started playing shows. And it's been almost 13 years.
It's so crazy to think about the fact that, the other guys in the band have been together for so long, almost since the very beginning. And then you joined, I believe it was in, like you said, 2012, I think is right.
Yeah, it was 2012.
Yeah,
Uh,
but at this time you're the longest standing drummer for the Gin Blossoms, right?
the longest tenured drummer in the band, yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's very cool. So I would presume there's a good chemistry with you guys where
I thought you
um
were going to say there's a gold star or something.
I'll get you a gold star too, but you guys have really good chemistry together, and obviously, and you guys have a great time touring all over. Uh, During the touring that you guys have been doing, what is a standout for you, like of a location or something that maybe happened while you were on tour that you're like, oh my god, this was crazy.
I there are two venues that always stand out in my mind are the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, and Red Rocks in beautiful
Oh
Colorado.
yeah, God, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
those two venues make me realize, okay, I haven't wasted my life here. Like I've actually achieved something of a career, and it's all been worthwhile. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost like that moment where you kind of almost feel like, okay, this is where what all the work was for, and this was really what I was kind of shooting for. And
Yes.
I think some people think that it's, you know, oh, I want, fame or fortune or whatever. And in my opinion, of people that I've talked to, it's not really about that. It's more about being able to share your passion of music with other people and just, passing that energy back and forth. It's just such a positive experience when you get to play in front of people.
Well, I always say it's the moments, it's the moments that you can without getting teary-eyed, it's the moments that you can share with people, and also that you can make for yourself. Because quite frankly, that's more or less nowadays. Um, you know, bands make records, sure, but records aren't really the thing anymore. It's now about touring, and it's about merch. And so touring, boy, you better want to do it, and you better enjoy the experience of touring, because that's that's what you're going to be doing if you're going to be having a career in music. it's
Right.
it's getting out there on the road, and just performing in front of people, and hopefully you enjoy it and soak it up and enjoy every last moment of it.
Yeah. And do you also enjoy the travel aspect of performing and playing around world?
Well, so there's traveling, and then there's traveling. Traveling for most people is I visited the Vatican, or I got to go to San Diego for whatever, a week. Um, Traveling for a band involves 4 o'clock lobby calls, and a lot of miles put on one's body, and a lot of compression stockings so that you don't develop thrombosis. Um, and that stuff is real.
This is
Like you
this is
have
stuff
to,
people don't think about, man. You
yeah,
know?
it's stuff that's it's real, you
Yeah.
know, and like it, if you have a fear of flying, you better get over that pretty fast. And I had a fear of flying in 2012. So I had to sort of ease my way into that. So yeah, the, and of course being on a bus, like learning to sleep on a bus, learning to get in a bunk and try to get, 6 or 7 hours of rest in a moving sardine can, a petri dish,
Right, right.
with nine other guys.
Wow.
It's challenging. So all of the stuff that you hear, like, where people say, well, shut the F up, just be grateful. Yeah, of course, be grateful, but there's also a certain degree of uh the traveling aspect of it is pretty grueling, and the hours are a lot of hurry up and wait, a ton of hurry up and wait, a lot of downtime, and your day is sort of regimented, but it's also in the end, it also just comes down to that 75 or 90 minutes a night that you're playing, and the rest of it is kind of like, well, um, yeah, it's like you hope that you get through it, and you find things to do, you develop hobbies, play online poker, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, it's an interesting life. It really is.
Do you find that when you are on tour that you tend to get sick easier, or are you able to find times to take care of yourself physically and emotionally? Like, I don't know, examples might be like maybe go for a walk in a town, or rent a bike, or maybe hit the workout room at a hotel, or maybe go for a massage. Those types of things. Are you able to find time to do that to take care of yourself when you travel?
Yeah, certainly, one hopes to do that. I am not the best person on the planet to be talking about that, because there are things that I always want to find more time to do, that lends itself towards that, towards being productive, and sort of having a, like Robin, for instance, he goes to the gym, and Scotty, I know, will walk around the town or whatever. But there is, like I said, there is a tremendous amount of downtime, and you really have to find ways to fill that time up, so that you don't long for home, or miss your loved ones too much. And there's a ton of that.
Of course, yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
there's a lot of compartmentalization
yeah,
that goes on.
yeah, yeah. Well, I for one am glad that you're doing the gig and sharing your passion of drumming, and had so much fun with you at Drummathon a few years ago, and so
Oh, it's a
grateful that you came
blast.
to that. I was also wondering, just to switch gears a little bit, speaking of gears, what kind of gear do you normally play? What's your drum set? We got a lot of drummers that follow us and like to hear about that as well.
So I play a Tama drum set, and I'm happily endorsed by them. I play what was it, a Bubinga kit,
Oh yeah, awesome.
um, and I'm really happy with them. And of course, Feisty cymbals, and uh, Vic Firth sticks, and yeah,
Very
uh,
cool. What
that kind of stuff.
What's your setup? Are you using a 22-inch and then like one rack,
Yes,
one rack and a floor, or two racks and
yes.
got you? Okay. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I
Yeah.
use the standard, you know, rock and roll drum set, like floor tom, rack tom, snare and kick, and then and then a side snare that I started incorporating.
Very cool. Is it what kind of side snare are you using? Is it something totally different than your main snare?
I actually stole a trick from a drummer that I really admire. He places a side snare over here, and he tunes it almost to like 1970s depth. uh it just sounds deader than dead, but it is the coolest effect. And I use that as sort of my side snare effect drum.
That's really cool. I used one of those like little soprano snares one time as a side
Yes.
snare. It was like it's a little 10-inch. I think it was a Peter Erskine,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
sure.
it was fabulous. I had so much fun with that, but that was a totally different vibe than the '70s that you're talking about. The Dead. It's like the whole polar opposite, just real high pitched. I did some recording with that too, and I really enjoyed it a lot. What kind of heads are you using?
I use Aquarian drum heads. uh Chris Evans over at Aquarian's a fantastic dude, and yeah, uh, they're they're solid company.
Yeah. It's almost like I planted you to say that because they're a sponsor of Drummathon every year,
There
Aquarian
you go.
Drumhead, so
Of
there you go.
course, of course.
Heck yeah.
I sure did. We had that one written down. All right, good. Just
I'll send you a check, man. Um,
yes,
so
checks in the mail.
yeah, right. Going back over to the Gin Blossoms, I know that you guys released an album not that long ago. How many albums have you released with the band since you got it?
So I recorded a record called Mixed Reality in 2017, and there's talk of us recording a new record. Um, I would guess next year.
Man, the one thing that I love so much about the Gin Blossoms is the harmonies that Jesse and Robin throw down. It's super unique, and it was something I remember when I first heard them back in the day. It was something that really set them apart. Is that something that like do you see them like as they get older? Is it becoming more challenging? Do they do some kind of regimen to stay on top of that? I mean, it's just so unique and important to the sound of the Gin Blossoms.
You know what? It they make it look too easy. Quite frankly, they are so blended, and they sound so good together. Um, yeah, they don't even. It seems like they don't even try.
It's
Kind of makes you
unfair.
mad.
Yeah, it's totally unfair, man. What's up with that?
Yeah,
But
I mean, between the guitars, the tones that they get from the guitars, and the way they play the guitars, and the parts, and then they're just their vocals. They just there's something that being together for 30 something years, it's gonna sound like it comes naturally. I mean, I'm sure at one point, if you listen to um some early videos, it doesn't sound quite like that, but you can still hear the the beginnings of what was to come. And yeah, they make it just sound so nice.
yeah,
And it's so cool because I get a stereo mix of their vocals and the guitars in my headphones, and I tell you, it's like playing with a record every night. It's so much fun.
I don't think you could think of a better compliment for the musicianship in that band. For it to sound that great when you're playing along with it, and that has to be so cool too. Especially being that you came from being like a fan early on and wanting to get yourself to that position, and then to be able to do that. That's so cool, and I could tell that you're super grateful for the opportunity and just cherishing every moment.
I really am. I
Yeah.
mean, it's I never take any of it for granted, because quite frankly, it's like I feel yeah, I might have manifested it somehow just through the sheer will of wanting it. But once you get there, you have to stay there. You have to do your job, and I feel like I'm very lucky to have kept it and still going strong.
Yeah, that's super cool. So, when's the next tour, or what are the plans as far as touring goes for you guys right now?
So I think the rest of the year looks fairly light. I think Robin is playing with the Smithereens the rest of the year, and then I think we've got like a cruise ship gig coming up in January, which looks very interesting because I've never been on a cruise ship.
Oh wow.
So
Is it kind of like a Monsters of Rock type of thing, only for
yes,
not so hair bandy?
it's gonna be the Sisters of Rock. I don't know.
You're
The
stupid.
cousins of rock.
That's awesome. The monsters, let's see, the aliens of rock or something. You know, I don't know. That's awesome. That'll be a lot of fun though, man. I'm really
It,
excited to hear about that.
it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there are already some friends from other bands that we know that are gonna be on the cruise, and it's gonna be fun.
That'll be an absolute blast, man. I'm jealous. I'll have to watch out for that. And of course, if you ever come through Dallas, you got to look me up so we can go out to dinner or whatever. Let me know when you're in town.
Totally.
And I also just want to make sure and thank you again for being a part of Drummathon a couple of years ago.
My pleasure.
So much fun to get to jam with you on stage, and a true honor. And I know the guys in the band and everybody who came out to the show were real excited to meet you and see you there and hear you play some Gin Blossoms
Eh,
tunes.
It was so much fun, and I thank you so much for having me out.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime. We're doing our our
Absolutely.
our 10th year this year, and we always love to have people come back, so we'll have to hit you up in the next coming years to do it all over again and pick some more fun songs to jam out on together.
Let's do it.
Sounds great, man. Thank you so much. I don't want to keep you any longer tonight, man. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you doing this evening. I love you, and I can't wait to see you again, and let's keep in touch, okay?
Love you back.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care, my friend. See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Scott Hessel, Gin Blossoms. So grateful he could join us this evening.